Alright guys, well welcome back to another week's episode of the Heartland Show on Midwest Whitetail. We're excited to bring you this week's episode. Guys are really starting to hit the trees, as we've talked about, across the Heartland region. And we're going to kick it off this week. I was able to get out on this latest cold front, which I hope a lot of you guys were, and I hope you had good luck. But I was able to get out there on October 7th, and Brad and I were able to get in and hunt one of my new permission pieces that I've talked about. And we'll show a little bit of that hunt. We saw a ton of deer. We weren't able to bring a ton of them to you just because we're dealing with so much foliage, as you guys can see still, which is normal. And it was a big observation set. We ended up seeing the shooter, but we weren't able to get him on film either, and he just kind of hung up there at 100 yards out in the open field. But that was the point of that hunt, was just kind of see how the deer are using it. So we were able to have a successful hunt, and it was one of those good ones where we were so covered up we couldn't do the exit interview, so we just had to kind of sneak out of there. But we'll bring that hunt to you guys, and then I wanted to touch base a little bit with you on just kind of how things are starting to come together. Alright guys, Brad and I are all set up in the tree. We're sitting, as you can see behind me, in this big observation set tonight. And this is my first sit on one of my new permission pieces I've talked about, and that's the main reason we're in this set. I've got a couple other sets out here that are a little more aggressive, but we just didn't feel right quite pushing in. We hung this set specifically for the first sit on this farm, so we could kind of see how the deer move it. We can see a lot of the ag field here from this spot. And we're hoping we'll get a good idea of how the bucks or does, just deer in general, are coming out of these fingers. This farm lays out really cool. It's the center of the farm is opened up here in the ag fields, and the outside is just numerous fingers that just come out and pinch into these fields. So lots of spots where the deer come out, but later in the year there's lots of spots for Brad and I to kind of pinch these deer down in some natural funnels. So that was the first thing that caught our eye about this place. So we're pretty excited that I get to hunt it, and feel very fortunate for the opportunity. So we are kind of settled in. I've got some cutty backs out here, and been getting a lot of nice deer on camera here. And as the last few days, we've had a lot of mature deer show up. Last night, I think I had 3 or 4 different mature bucks on camera, and one of them was a really nice 10-pointer, very mature buck. But I'd be happy with any of those mature deer. So gonna settle in and enjoy the night. Hopefully we've got a lot of action to bring you guys. So as you guys can see, it was a good hunt. We were able to see lots of deer, and it was nice to get on that permission farm for the first time. And it's definitely one, I think, based off what you guys saw on those cutty backs, it's definitely one we'll try and get back to here as the rut picks up, and especially, like I mentioned, the way that farm lays out. So a little bit of how things are going to go for me going forward. Our schedule opened up this weekend, actually, Emma's schedule, I should say. And the first thing she said was she wanted to go hunting. So Sunday night, I plan on taking Emma out to the blind and trying to get her on a deer, and we'll see if she's going to hold out for a buck or be a little more interested in a doe this time. But I wanted to touch base about the home farm a little bit, because bucks are finally starting to trickle in. Last time we talked, I mentioned that I just didn't have much for hit listers there yet, and a lot of that has been just due to the corn. A lot of us across the Heartland staff and Midwest Whitetail, and you guys as well, are dealing with a lot of standing corn still. And that's not that it's late by any means. I think we just all got spoiled a little bit last year, at least in our area, and the corn was out pretty early. So there's still a few good bucks I'm hoping to pick back up that lived on us last year. But so far, as you guys see here, we've had some good ones roll through. I think we've got 4 or 5 good shooters. And for me, that's 4.5 older that have showed up, and a couple of them I definitely recognize from last year's, 3-year-olds last year that have showed back up now as 4, and they look good. Everything made good jumps. So I'm looking forward to getting out to the farm this weekend with Emma on the home farm. We haven't been out there since opening day, and hopefully we can put her on another deer. So as far as the rest of the episode goes, we're going to check in with Jeff Vanderheiden and Billy C. and Aaron and Emerson in Iowa. I know those guys have all been getting out and got some updates to bring you guys. And then we'll cap it off with Zach Rosmus. Zach's been putting a lot of time in the tree here lately, and I know he was able to finally harvest a doe there the other night, and he's been itching to do that. So, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the episode, and we'll hopefully myself, I've got some exciting hunts to bring you from this weekend.
All right, it's October 8th. Decided to slip out this evening. Do kind of an observation sit, as I talked about in an earlier episode this season. They were scheduled to do some CRP maintenance on the property this fall, and over this past week they did a bunch of mowing out here, and so it looks quite a bit different. So I kind of thought sit in here this evening and see some movement anyway. I don't know if I necessarily believe that I'm in the chips tonight, but it'll be a good sit anyway, just to kind of put eyes on stuff, see what's going on, kind of make a game plan for things to come. So we'll see what happens. I did have the stranger buck on camera at night on Thursday, so he's still in the neighborhood here somewhere close. Hoping to lay eyes on either him or Junkyard or Pisa this evening would be super nice, but I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll sit in here and see what we see. Well, it's been a pretty good evening. Actually still got those 2 does are right out here in front of the blind still, but had another decent, what looked like maybe a 3-year-old buck. I'm not really sure who he is either. He worked his scrape over there, and then he came right up the path that I mowed through the weedy beans and came right up in here to the edge of the food plot, but it's just barely cutting my wind. And I had both windows open, and I don't know if he got a little nervous or there was a couple other does that had went back behind me, and I don't know if he was checking on them or what was going on, but it was a good evening. Saw 2 decent bucks, and of course a handful of does. So fun evening in the blind here, nice little observation sit, and I'll bring you the action if something happens here yet, but if not, thanks for watching.
Hey guys, welcome to Midwest Whitetail. Today is opening day here in Iowa. Today we're at my home farm here in northeast Iowa, sitting over this brand new food plot we put in this year. We're hoping for some pretty good deer movement tonight. Temperatures are a little warm, it's about 70 degrees, but we're hoping for the best. Last night at about 6:30, I had some does in the plot, and today's more of a doe mission than anything. but also kind of a scouting mission because this is a brand new food plot. Last year when we came down here around this time and into October a little more, there was a lot of sign down here, so we decided to put this food plot in this year and hopefully to kill something over this new plot right away this season. So we're gonna get settled in here and hope to see something here shortly. Hey guys, welcome to Midwest Whitetail. It is October 2nd today. It's about 4:30, 4:45 right now. We're at a new property I got permission on last year over here in northeast Iowa. So it's about a 120 acre parcel. 50 to 60 of it's timber and the rest is tillable. There's hay and alfalfa and corn to the east of us. Right now it's just pretty much a doe mission, but we're gonna get settled in and hope for a good night. It's a little warm. I think it was 76 degrees in the truck on the way here, so a little warm, but it's October. Gotta be in the tree stand, but stick with us here and hopefully we're gonna have a good night. This evening. I've hunted this farm a couple times in the evenings after work. It's just a permission farm, and the other night I sat here and had a doe and a fawn come through, and then I saw a really good buck off in the distance. It was in about that last 20 to 30 minutes of legal light, and he was probably 800 yards away. I mean, he was quite a ways off. I got some footage of him, and I really got the footage back home and took a good long look at it. And he's a pretty good deer. Really, really nice frame. Looks like he's wide and tall. I don't know if he's 8, 10. I don't know what he is as far as points. I just know he's got a really big frame. So it was him and another buck, and then there's a handful of does. And what they're doing is bedding in this CRP, and they're standing corn in an L shape around this. So I was able to sneak down this levee tonight, right along this edge, and use the corn as cover, and the wind's blowing right in my face. So all the bedding, all the food is upwind of me, and I just kind of made a circle downwind of everything and looped right in. So my access was perfect. First time in this set, there was a rub right here by the tree. There's actually a scrape on the other side, so I'm pretty anxious. The wind's blowing about 15 miles an hour. I had good wind cover, and just going to sit it out. Probably not going to be much action until about the last 45 minutes, but I'm in plenty early, 2 hours ahead of what I feel is a good time, so kick back, relax.
little aggressive for October the 8th, but I've got a big deer daylight, so I decided to make a move.
That's gonna close it out for us for the evening. We ended up seeing the buck that we wanted to see, and he's right where he was a few nights ago. So I don't think I'm gonna make any adjustments. I feel like I'm in the best spot that I can be in. I'll probably just come back here and sit tomorrow night. I've got an even better wind for tomorrow night. Handful of does, small buck, and the one we were after is right here in this vicinity, so I'll just come and hang in on him again tomorrow night.
Alright guys, here we go, October 6th. This is actually my second hunt in Iowa and my first hunt down at Area 52. We got a cold front that's coming in here in the next couple days, and really tomorrow and Saturday are looking really good. So we're kind of right at the front end of that front coming in tonight. It's pretty windy right now. I'm actually in a stand location that I call the High Hive. I had a lot of good hunts here last year, and it's a stand that has really good access kind of in and out from the road. But it's also a stand that I can see a lot of ground from, so that's why I kind of like hunting it early season, especially where, you know, maybe there's not a specific deer that's showing up regularly on camera or anything like that, but from this location I could see a lot of my farm and also my neighbor's farm. So it sets up really well for an early season hunt. But I'm excited to be down in the tree tonight. You know, I've had a lot going on in my personal life, and you know, a lot kind of come up over the last couple weeks. Regardless, it's kind of good to have a little tree therapy tonight and kind of get it in the woods and kind of enjoy Mother Nature a little bit. It's pretty windy right now. It's supposed to die down kind of before dark tonight, so I'm blowing around here pretty good. But I'm going to nestle in, and I feel pretty confident I'm going to see deer. It's just whether or not they're going to be in bow range. You can see, and I'll show you here in a moment, I actually broadcasted some brassicas and some annual clover directly into these standing beans in front of me. And you can tell it's done pretty well, and the beans are pretty close to being to the point where they're ready for the farmer to get them picked. So I would anticipate here in the next couple weeks these beans will be gone, and just kind of continue the management practices down here. And I'm looking forward to having that bean stubble where I can really manipulate this farm for food sources and cover moving forward, and just kind of continuing the story and kind of putting the pieces of this puzzle together down here on Area 52. And I know I say this every time I hunt down here, but it just means something different being down here. It's just every time in the tree, I feel like I'm soaking it all in, and it's just a little bit more meaningful. So it feels good to be in the tree tonight. getting down to about the last 10 minutes of legal shooting light, and tell you what an awesome hunt tonight. Deer were just moving all over the place tonight. The only thing that I was working really hard against me is that, man, the wind just really picked up. Originally it was supposed to die down, you know, right before dark, and if anything, it's gotten stronger. I mean, there's been periods of time where, even like right now, gosh, it just probably been blowing 30, 35 mile an hour. And where this tree is set up at, I mean, I'm facing directly into it, right on the edge. But I'm not surprised at all at that buck that I saw tonight. That's a buck that I call Shrimp. And he is just a bully buck. I mean, he is just all over the place. I mean, every single night it almost seems like that either me or my neighbor are getting him on camera. And it's not just one camera either. He is just all over the place. And he is actually one of the bucks that I thought that I could probably target early season. And I actually did grunt at him a couple times, but it's just so windy. I don't think he really heard me, or if he did, you know, he didn't really acknowledge it too much. But some people might think it's pretty early to grunt, but just how that deer has acted on camera, on cameras with videos on him, and even when I had an encounter with him last year, he is just constantly bristling up, constantly pushing around other deer, and I think that he's probably really susceptible to calling, and he is definitely a mature old buck, and really cool to see him on the hoof like that. Wish the conditions were a little bit different, where I think I would have stand a pretty good chance of bringing him in, but first hunt down here, and this got the blood flowing tonight. Thanks for joining in to Midwest Whitetail, the Heartland Show. All right, October 12th, and it's actually almost 5:30, and I'm just kind of getting set up and nestled into this tree that I call the woodpecker set, down here on Area 52. My wife kind of named this tree last year because we actually had a couple encounters with a couple pileated woodpeckers, which is actually pretty cool to see down in this area. Oh, there's a deer right here. Big doe. On the board for 2022. That just shows you how quickly it can happen. I wasn't even able to get through my opening interview tonight, and I had two great big does and a fawn come in. I mean, just perfect how this stand sets up. And gave me just a perfect 20-yard quarter-inch away shot, and I snuck it right in there, a really good shot, and she actually died out in the field, not too far away. So It might end up being a little bit shorter set tonight, but I love this stand. I didn't hunt it a ton last year, but the access for the morning hunts is typically a little bit better. But as I was kind of saying when I was setting up, or kind of doing my opening interview, I was moving around some trail cams, and it's a west, really stiff wind tonight, and I mean, trees are cracking and leaves are falling on the ground, and it's kind of hectic around here. And I was trying to do my opening interview, and they just walked right in. So one of my goals for this season was that now that I've been running trail cameras down here for more than a year, it's pretty clear that the doe population is pretty high, but the doe to buck ratio is definitely weighted pretty heavily towards the does. So I bought quite a few doe tags, and I'm primarily archery hunt, so every opportunity they give me, I don't really want to have to deal with packing one out by myself tonight, but when they give you one, give you an opportunity like that, you got to take advantage of it. So it's good to be on the board 2022.